One of my educators was Mr. late Camille Bailey, and back in those days in school, he used to teach us a lot of theater and poems. He was also a great writer. And one day he took me to Curacao for an Antillean cultural manifestation, and the group involved Mr. Camille Bailey himself, Mr. Lasana Sekou. And there I was impressed. I got to meet several people in the cultural field. The Minister of Education back then, who was Mr. Jack Ferris, who was the guest speaker and told us about the different cultures of the island, and was quite impressive. I did a documentary on that for radio, and then I became really interested in doing things for St. Martin culture, because back in those days there wasn't a lot of possibilities for the artists themselves to showcase their culture. My name is Elton Richardson of the program St. Martin in Retrospect, and I'm honored and very proud to be a part of this program, 240 seconds of we own thing. So I took it upon myself, formed a group, and we did a number of programs from about St. Martin. I must admit and say though that it was a stepping stone from the program Profiles of the Windward Islands, which I had a little role in that. As a young boy, you figuring, well, maybe that wasn't something I wanted to do. But you hear the discussions about, oh, St. Martin don't have no culture. St. Martin have a lot of culture. If you look around, there's a culture in the way we speak. There's a culture in the way we our music that we produce. There's a way in the way we dress, the food we eat. That's something else. And back in those days, the food was provision, and we would ask ourselves, well, what's in Martin? You know, number one food. What's in Martin mean? Food. I would say it would be provision and fish, because that's what we live off of. That's what we grew up on from back in the days. Well, I grew up in the little small village of Colby, and those days didn't have a lot of people living there, and people farm a lot over there in Colby. So the Bells had a lot of cattle. They did a lot of farming. They even used to deliver milk to the school, the Leonard Connor School. Um, there were people who would butcher. Um, like my family, for instance, we would butcher almost every weekend. If it's not a cow, it's two goats. Um, we had and we raised chickens in the yard. So that was basically our food there. We wasn't really depending on the importation of food. As little boys, how do we keep ourselves busy? And growing up in the Colby area, we had to resort in making perhaps our own toys that would keep us busy. And I'm sure you hear about the roller. That is one of the things that I try to at least promote in one of the schools, in Martin Vocational School. Everybody, well, things started to change in St. Martin back late 50s, early 60s, when we started moving to tourism. We saw a lot of changes. Yeah, there's a song that says, goes, bring back the old time ways. We know that there must be some change, so we have to bring back the old time ways. Bring back the old time ways. Bring back the old time days. I know times must change, but I still say bring back the old time ways. Bring back the old time ways. If you don't know your past, you wouldn't know your future.